Observe here. So this computer is implemented in the OS called Windows, and this operating system is Mac. Getting the point. So one more, we are having the PC that is running in the Linux. So we are communicating over the internet. These three computers here. Getting the point. So in the over internet, we are implemented one application using Java, but the three users are trying to communicate our application, even though they are having different operating system. Still, they are able to communicate with our application, and whatever they are expecting the output, they are going to get. So this is the one more advantage we are going to get whenever we are trying to develop the application using the Java language. So what is the feature we are going to call portability? Getting the point. So this is the one more we are going to see the portability, and one more, it is a robust application we are going to call. So why we are going to call the robust application here? If we observe carefully, Java is a type check language. Strictly, whatever the code we are going to write here, whatever the code we are going to write, the code is going to compile at compile time, or sometimes it's going to compile at runtime, but most of the code is going to compile at compile time. We'll see. So if you miss anything, the syntax, if you are not following properly, we are going to get an error information. Getting the point. So because of that, we are going to call our application, or we can say Java is a robust application. Getting the point. Initially, what is doing here? Is checking everything, the syntax related information at compile time. So we'll see how exactly is going to check the syntax at compile time. But simple. So first we need to know like what are the features are available in Java. So the first one we identified here, it's a simple one. And the second one we identified, it's a secure. The secure we are going to see using the bytecode. Third one we have identified portability. Fourth one we have identified robust. And we'll see the fifth one here. So using this particular Java, we can implement multi-threaded applications here. So using Java, we can implement applications called multi-threaded environment. Multi-threaded environment. So carefully observe here. So multi-threaded environment is nothing but exactly where we can work this feature, where exactly it's going to work. So simple example, we want to work here. So we are having one ticket application here. So we are trying to reserve a seats here. Like I want to book 3 seats here. Getting the point. And one user is trying to work on the same, and second user, third user, around 5 users that are trying to communicate with only this particular 3 seats here. Right. And we are having only 3 seats, but the users having 5. But we cannot give this 3 seats information to the 5 seats here. So if we are doing like that, definitely they are going to fight with each other because of this particular seats here. Getting the point. But we want to provide the information only to this particular 3 users, and the remaining two users, they need to get some message called some seats are sold out. Some message we need to provide here. How exactly we are going to work here? Using this particular multi-threaded environment, we are going to work on this kind of situations here. Getting the point. So we'll see how exactly the multi-threaded environment is going to work in Java. But simple example I want to share here how exactly in the way this particular multi-threaded concepts is going to provide. Getting the point. And based on our day-to-day classes, we are going to communicate more about this particular multi-threaded environment. I will explain So where exactly it's going to work and what are the syntax we need to follow and everything. Okay, and back to here, one more features call. Using this particular Java language, we are going to get high performance here. We are going to get high performance. We'll see how exactly this particular high performance we are going to get here. Getting the point. Observe here, basically, so today what I did here, I run this simple example here, and tomorrow my operating system is upgraded. Right. So initially it is having something called some 11.2, and from tomorrow onwards my version is changed to 12.5. Getting the point, 12.5. So because of this version upgrades, version upgrade, still our application it has to be executed. Whenever you are having any problem, whenever we are having the problem, we cannot execute the application. Again, what we can do? So we can need to redevelop the code and recompile and re-execute the code. So these are the drawbacks we are going to get, right? So because of this version upgrade, what we are going to do? We are going to redevelop the application, right? Recompile the application and rerun the application. So this is very lengthy process and it's going to take more time here. So maybe you are going to think like if I'm going to write only 4 lines of code, it is easy to redevelop the application. But imagine in the real-time application, so we are going to write 1,000 lines of code here. Getting the point. So because of this version change, if we are going to redevelop the application, the thousand lines of code, how much days the time is going to take? So we doesn't know how many days is going to take develop the same application here. But here, so those kind of drawbacks we are not going to get using this particular high performance. What we are going to do, even though the particular operating system is upgraded, the existing code still we can execute here. Still we can execute wherever the state we are having. Using the same state we can develop the application, or we can deploy the application, we can compile, we can execute every operation we can perform. So this is the one kind of feature which is available in Java. Getting the point. So this is the one more here, and we are going, the last one we are having here, something called distributed. So the distributed we are going to find in the remote based applications here. So something called, basically, whenever we are going to communicate over the internet to applications here, the simple example here, you are trying to book like we are trying to buy some item into some e-commerce website here. So once the some item is identified, what we are going to do? You are trying to make a payment here. You are trying to make a payment here. The payment, how we are going to communicate it here? Over the internet, we are going to communicate with other application here. Other application is nothing but some bank application we are going to communicate. So this communication is going to perform using our distributed features. So internally we are going to call RMI, remote method invocation. So this concept we are going to see how exactly this particular RMI is going to come into the picture and what exactly we are going to perform inside this particular RMI. Getting the point. So these are the features are available in Java. Using the same features, we are going to develop the application. Getting the point. Now, any questions regarding these particular features? Any questions? Okay. So can you message me if you are having any doubts? Okay, no problem. I did not see any updates, or maybe we are good. So now we'll try to focus on the simple example how we can work on this particular Java simple example here. So before going to start, what I can do first, we need to download the Java, right? So first we need to download, and where we can download the Java. So now this particular Java is operating by Oracle Corporation here. Using the Oracle Corporation website, we can download the Java. So we can check here. We'll see any website, which version we are going to download here. So something here it's having version 8. No, I don't want to download here. So using this particular website, you can download the Java. Right. Now, once you download it, what you are going to do, we need to install. After installing, simply you can check like this whether the Java installed or not. Just give a command called Java. So if you are going to give the command like Java, you are going to see some information. It's nothing but Java is installed in your PC. Right. After that, now we are going to implement the all the example using IDE. The IDE called Eclipse here. To download the IDE, so go to the Eclipse IDE. Eclipse IDE download here. So you may find the Eclipse organization here. Using this particular organization, you can download the IDE. Getting the point. So these are the two important things we need to know before starting this simple example here. After that, you will extract the IDE. You are going to see this IDE. But make sure here, once you extracted the IDE, you are going to find this particular icon. Whenever you are clicking, we are going to see this information, like it's going to ask. So wherever you are interested, provide the path of this particular workspace and click on the launch. Once you click on the launch, you are going to see this information here. Observe carefully. We'll try to implement simple example here. Now right click on this particular project explorer, click on new and go to the project. Inside the project you are able to see Java project. Name of the project here something called Spring. So core Java 07 and click on finish. Don't create any module. Change the perspective. Okay. Click back to here. Inside this SRC, I'm going to create one class here. Simple example. I want to provide the main method here. Observe here, whenever we are giving this information, by default, we are going to have some structure here. We are going to have some structure. How exactly this structure is going to work? Because of this particular IDE, we are going to get this structure here. And observe, what is the name of the class we provided here? So that is called simple example. And we are using the public here. So this is one kind of access modifier we are going to call in Java. Getting the point. So this is the one kind of access modifier. We'll see what kind of the access modifiers are available in Java in later, but make sure. So the public is nothing but if we can access from the outside. Getting the point. This particular class we can access from the outside of this particular package. So it's nothing but wherever we want to access, we can access that. So this particular public is indicating that. Okay. So don't get more on this particular public. So we are going to have one session. We are going to have a session like how exactly the access modifiers are going to work here. And this is the keyword to create a simple class here. This is the keyword to create a simple class, and the name of the class we've specified as a simple example. And whenever we are running any example, we used to run from the main method. So this main method is going to call from the JVM main method. Getting the point? So whenever, simple example here, whenever we are creating any method, so observe here, this is called, we are going to call as a method, and the name of the method here, it is a main. How we are going to identify whether it is a method or not? So here, the method having some return type here. The method having some return type. I will explain in upcoming classes how we can easily identify whether it is the method or it is any other than method, how we can recognize here. But make sure this is a simple example. Just we need to understand how exactly it's going to work. But in Java, if you want to call any method, so we need a reference here. Getting the point? We need a reference. Either we can call from the name of the class name, or we can create a object of the particular class. So using the object class reference, we are going to call the main method. So getting the point, we need a reference to call this particular main method. Right. Now, to call this particular main method, what we are doing here, this particular main method is going to call from the JVM main method. From the JVM, this main method is going to call, and after that, we are going to write whatever we want to write inside the main method. The main method is going to call and is going to execute it. Line by line is going to execute it here. How many lines of the code we are going to write? So all the lines is going to execute it line by line. So this is an order is going to execute. Getting the point. Now we'll see. So we identified the JVM is going to call the main method, and after the main method we are going to execute all the examples here. Back to here, let me clear the screen. So simple message I want to write. Other than this, I don't want to write more here, because this is our first example. We want to focus on the syntax related everything here. Simple message. Okay. Now right click on this particular class and go to the run as and click on Java application. Whenever we are going to click this particular Java application, you can observe here, welcome to Java. Welcome to Java. Getting the point. So how exactly it's printing here? Whatever the message we are specified inside this particular, this is the one kind of method, that is name of the method called println. Getting the point. So the println method we are calling, and inside the println method we specified some message information. The message is printing on our console. Observe here, this is the console. Whatever we want to print, so the printer related information is going to print in the particular console here. Right. Now back to here. So we already identified this method is going to call from the main method, and we identified this particular public here. So to call from anywhere, what we are doing here, we are making public here. So here is nothing but we don't have any restrictions here. Getting the point. And static here. So we'll see how exactly this particular static is going to work, because this particular static, without creating an object, if we want to call any method, so we can make like this. We can make this particular static here. Right. We'll see in the upcoming classes how exactly this particular static is going to work. And back to here, this particular void here, void is indicating here So this particular main method is not going to return anything. It's not going to return anything. So if the method is not returning anything, what we can do here, simply we can make void. We can make void here, right? So later this method is having one parameter. Whenever we are specifying this, we are going to call as a parameter brace here. Getting the point? And whenever we are specifying this brace, this is the curly brace, it's having scope of the particular method, or wherever we are defining this particular brace, it's going to is indicating scope of the particular block. Getting the point? Wherever we are using this particular scope brace, curly brace, it's going to define the scope here, right? And this is indicating parameter. This is indicating parameter, right? So this is very important, where we need to define the scope, or when we can define the parameter. Getting the point? Now we identify this is indicating the parameter, and it's having the parameter called string. String is a one kind of data type here. String is a one kind of data type here. Let me clear the screen. Observe carefully, it is one kind of data type. We'll see, and name of the data type we are making something called aux here. Okay, don't worry, as of now we'll try to focus on more how exactly this particular the data type is going to work here. String. Back to here, we identified the parameters, and this information we identified, and we need to check with the below one. So again, it is a class. It is a one kind of class available in Java, and this is the reference of this particular class to call this particular method, and this is the name of the method. Getting the point? So carefully observe here. This is the name of the class. So it's like a simple example. How we created. Same like one more class is available in Java, that is called system, and this is the reference, objective reference we are going to call, that is called out here. And the println, it's like a method we are using, the main method, how it's going to call the main, and same way the println also is going to function same like. But here each method having unique functionality, we'll try to focus on the how exactly the unique functionality is going to work here. And basically the simple one, this main method, what is the functionality we are going to get? This main method is calling from the JVM main method, and is trying to execute the line by line code, whatever we are specifying inside this particular main method. And back to here, this particular println method, what is doing here? Whatever the message we specified inside this particular brace, what is doing here is trying to print the same message on our console. So see the purpose of each method here. So that's the reason each method having some unique purpose. So we'll see how we can define the method and how we can call the method. Getting the point? Any questions regarding this particular simple example? Any questions? Okay, so back to here, the same example. If I want to run the same example using our command line, what we can do, we'll go back to this particular structure where we implemented. Now this is the, so in this particular URL, the codes available here. Now I'm going to the 07 src. Observe here, this is our simple example dot Java. Getting the point? Now, what we can do here, open our command prompt, Java C. What is the name of the class? Simple example dot Java. Using this particular Java C command, we can compile our application here. So whatever the class we implemented, we can compile like this. Right. If you are having any questions, any queries, something called any errors, so it's going to give a error here. We are going to get error here whenever you are having any syntax related queries here. Okay, back to here. To run the same example, what we can do here, Java simple example, and observe here the same message we are getting here. The same message we are getting here. Whatever the message we identified in the particular console, welcome to Java, the same message we are getting here, welcome to Java. So this is the one more step if you want to execute the example using our command line. So whenever we are trying to execute the example using the command line, first what we need to do here, we need to use Java C and name of the class name, right? And after that, what we can do here, and extension. What is the extension the particular class having, right? After that, what it will do is going to generate, it's going to generate one dot class file. Whenever we are compiling one dot class file. So this is indicating the bytecode related information here. Once a class is compiled, we are going to have one dot class file. The dot class file contains the bytecode related information. We'll see how exactly the bytecode related information is going to have. And after that, which command we are using? Java and name of the class name. Getting the point? Name of the class name, and here we are not going to specify any extension here. Any extension. This is the command to execute our application here. This is a command to execute our application. So this is the way we can run the same example using our command line. But here we will try to focus on the using IDE. Right. Back to here, someone asking the question, how can I pass the command line argument in IDE? So in IDE, if we want to pass the command line IDE, what we can do, basically what we are doing here, we are trying to run from the Java application here, right? So here we don't have an option to pass, but only one option here. Go to the property, in the debug configuration, using this particular simple example class, here we can specify the arguments here. Getting the point? So here we can specify the arguments, we can run the whatever the argument we want to pass. So this is the one option we can pass here. Okay, back to here. So we identified using the IDE, and as well as we identified the same example using the particular command line here. Now we'll try to focus on the one more example here. Observe here, I am trying to use one more data type here, that is called int. So initially we identified this is the string is a one kind of data type. Same way we are having one more data type called int. We will observe how exactly the data types are going to work here. Right. Now back to here, this particular number I declare and now initialize. This section is going to provide declaration of the variable and so this is the initialization of the variable. We are going to call number is a variable, and the line numbers is going to, what we are doing here, just simply we are declaring the variable, and the same number we are initializing with some value here. Initially, here we are going to get default values. Here we are going to get default values of each data type. Whatever the data types we are specifying here, each data type having some default values here, right? And the data type we are having here, int. Here we are going to get the default value of this particular number 0. But the 0, what we are doing here, we are trying to override with 100 here. Getting the point? Initially, it's become 0 whenever we are declaring, and whenever we are making is nothing but whenever we are trying to initializing the value, the 0 is going to override with 100. So this is the way we can declare the variable and we can initialize the variable. So I will explain in the which scenario we can declare the variable and in the which scenario we can initialize the value. Okay, but simple example, back to here. Now I want to print the same information here. So to print, what I am doing here, again I am calling the system.out.println here. So this is the number. I want to observe here what I am doing here. So this is the string, and what we are doing here, we are trying to append with the number. So here we are having two data types here. Here we are having two data types. So this is indicating the string data type, and this is number is nothing but integer data type. But what we are doing is we are making two data type, like we are trying to concatenation with the two data type. How we are trying to concatenation with the two data type? Using this particular plus operator. Using this particular plus operator. So observe, let me save the same example here, and we are going to have a shortcut here. Observe here, Alt Shift X J. Getting the point? To run the same example, Alt Shift X J. Observe the same output, like some command line we are getting some output here. So what is output we are getting here? Something called, so this is the number we implemented inside the string, and the 100 we provided as a number. But what we are doing here, we are making two data types concatenation here. Once we concatenated the only one line we are getting, that is called, this is the number, some value, right? Now observe here, after that I want to perform one more operation here. So carefully observe here, num is equals to num into 2. So what I am doing here, I'm trying to multiply with like multiplication I want to do here based on this particular number value, and after that the same I want to print, right? The same I want to print here, but observe here, I don't want to use the another data type. So simple, whenever you are using the only one data type, so we can we don't want to use the particular plus operator here. Observe the output here. Initially it is 100, right? And after performing some multiplication operation, we are getting 200, and this is without using another data type here. But here what we are doing here, to provide the output some readability, so we are using one more data type here, and we are trying to concatenating on the data type here. So this is the way we can perform one more operation here, something called, if you want to concat two objects here. Okay, so simple one we identified here. Getting the point? And we want to perform conditional here. So something called, we are going to have control statements here. Control statements. So how we can work on this particular control statement? So before going to start this particular control statements, so any questions you are having regarding this particular example? Any questions? Okay. Back to here. So we want to work with some control statement. The control statements here, carefully observe here, we are having if. It's having some block here. It is having some block. How we can work on this particular if block, we can identify. And inside this, we are going to have operator here, less than operator, and another one greater than operator. And so here, carefully observe here, we are having the operators here. What are the operators we are having? So one is less, less than, and another one is greater than. So we are going to have doubling operator here. So we'll try to focus on the using this particular operator, how we can execute the simple example here. Getting the point. Now, so we'll try to focus on the example. Let me clear the screen. And I want to make some comment here. So here, the comment section also I want to explain here. So this is the single line comments we are going to call, and this is the multi-line comment we are going to call. In Java, whenever we are specifying this particular single line comment, or if you are specifying this multi-line comment, Java compiler, the commented code is going to ignore here. The commented code is going to ignore here. Getting the point. So why we need to understand, like to make our readability application, what we can do, we can implement this particular comment sections here. Whenever we are trying to implement any application, so if we are going to write the purpose of the case, we can go for this particular comments. And now back to here, I want to work with the same data type, something called int x comma y, right? So I declare, and now what I am doing here, I want to initialize some value, something called x is equals 10 and y is equals to 20. And here, what I am doing here, I am making x less than y. So observe carefully. So how I am specifying here, based on the data types value, whatever the data types we provided, this is the data type, and these two variables are working with int data type. And carefully observe here the condition how I am using here. The condition how I am using here, x less than y. X less than y. Whenever this particular condition is satisfied, what it's going to do, it's going to return value called true or false. True or false. Getting the point. So when we are going to get true, whenever this particular x less than y is matched, and here x is the what value we are having 10, and y is what value we are having 20. So based on this particular condition, now tell me it's going to return true or false. So x less than y. X less than y is nothing but 10 less than 20. So this block is going to return true or false. Or simply explain me. So the 10 value is less than to 20 or not. The 10 value is less than to 20 or not. If it is yes, it's going to return true. If it is yes, it's return true. And if it is false, it's going to return, sorry. If it is no, it's return false. Getting the point. So we'll observe here how exactly it's going to work here. The simple one, x less than y. And here what we can do, I want to provide message here. What message we can specify? X is less than y. Getting the point. And now observe carefully. Again, I want to do some multiplication here. And here, what I am doing here? X greater than y. X greater than y. Okay. Let me make here another operator here. Something called equals to y. Okay. So again, what I want to do, x is equals to multiplication. Again, I'm trying to multiply with the 2. So carefully observe x greater than y. And here x is greater than y. Okay. Now, first we'll try to run the same example. What is the command? Alt to shift x j. Carefully observe x is less than y. Any questions regarding this? The first condition, x is less than y. Is it correct or wrong? Observe here, x is now equals to y. And the last one, x is greater than y. So carefully observe here, we are going to have two options here. We are going to have two options here. The simple one, like also we can implement mesh. So whenever we are having only one line of statement, whenever we are having only one line of statement, so we can implement like this or we can implement like this. But here, when we are having more than one line of statement here, observe carefully. Whenever we are having more than one line of statement, So simply I want to provide here. So here we are, whenever you are having two lines of statement, what we can do here, we need to open this particular brace. The brace is open here and the brace is closed here. So it is nothing but it is some block of code. It is having some block of code. Whenever it's written true, what we are doing here, we are trying to executing the below lines here, right? But here, whenever the block is returning true, what it will do, this particular line is going to execute here. Same way, and when this particular condition is satisfied in the sense, whenever it is trying to return true, what it will do, it will print on this particular message here. Getting the point. So now I want to make here something called greater than. I want to make something called greater than. Observe here the output here, only we are getting 2. Why we are not getting the first one here? So you can check here, x is now equals to y and x is greater than y. But we did not print this particular message here. Is nothing but this particular block is not written true. This particular condition is not satisfied here. So why it is not satisfied here? The x value we are having how much? 10. The y we are having 20. The condition is not satisfied. Because of that one, this particular block is nothing but the line is not executed here. Any questions regarding this, the control statements here? Any questions? Okay. So if we don't have any questions, what we can do, we'll try to continue the remaining concepts tomorrow. So, and day to day, we are going to increase the concept, and I'm requesting, so today try to download the particular Java language, jobs, and IDE. If you want to practice from IDE, you can download from any IDE. Try to practice, and whenever you are having any queries, so we'll try to focus on the upcoming classes. Okay. And if we don't have any questions, we can conclude the today class and we'll continue tomorrow at same time. Okay. So thanks for joining. We'll continue tomorrow.